President, do you think the Cubs will win?
I feel very confident. I think Kershaw is a great pitcher, but they got too many sticks. They got too many sticks.
Really?
Yeah, and at home, with our crowd, the weather.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of autumn in Chicago. You don't get that in Los Angeles. Trees just die in Los Angeles. In Illinois, they flourish. They perform. They show the beauty of nature.
Had an unbelievable column in the New York Times on Sunday entitled, "Why Not Utopia?" The column demands that if robots become widespread in the marketplace, they should be available to everyone, not just rich people. The column was written by Mark Bittman, who usually writes about food recipes, turnips, that kind of stuff, for the newspaper. Mr. Bittman's column would be forgettable if not for the fact that it contains the key ingredient for the far-left agenda in the USA. Now, you may be tired of hearing about the far left. I might overuse it here. But these people are fanatical. Listen to Mr. Bittman, quote, "Better is a guaranteed basic income, which is not universally despised because it would simplify matters and help keep the economy moving. How all of this would be financed is, of course, a question. We could make the income tax look like it did 60 years ago when the top rate was 91%, or you could institute a 100% tax on wealth over $1 billion. Mr. Bittman calling for the federal government to guarantee an income for every American, whether that American works or not. That's what the far left wants. With us here to react in New York City, Marion Catherine Ham and Alan Colmes. So, Marion Catherine, you can you believe this, first of all? I mean, at least Bittman, I mean, I guess he was eating a sandwich and writing a column at the same time. But, you know, very few of these people will go that far, but he did.
Yes, here's the thing. It's very fashionable to talk about income inequality, and we can discuss that and ways to combat it.
Right.
But can we talk about the glaring historical blind spot you need to say Marxist socialist utopia? Why not? Well, there are hundreds of millions of reasons why not. They're lying in mostly mass graves across the entire world and are still being put there in service to this ideology, which requires a giant centralized force to make decisions for what everybody's income is.
And force is the word, Colmes,
yes.
Because you have to basically then say to your population, you're going to hand over.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy, American.
You're going to hand over what we tell you to hand over. That's the only way to finance 320 million people getting a guaranteed income from the federal government is to force the people who do have access to hand them over.
This is not, you keep using the phrase far left. Most people do not stand for this. Most people in this country who are on the left, whether they be moderate left, Democrats, or even extreme left, I don't think are for the government giving everybody money or taking.
I didn't say that,
really but
this guy unmasked it. And the power in the Democratic Party now lies with the far left. And I'll tell you why. Because of the money. That's where the money is. Soros money. Okay? Big machine websites. Organizations that intimidate and you know, hurt people. The moderate Democrats don't have any of that, but the far left does.
I'm going to disagree, Bill. I think the Democratic Party has moved to the right. We've got a very moderate party, and the candidates who are extremely moderate, a lot of blue dog Democrats.
Obama is a moderate?
Oh, absolutely. He's governing as a moderate, definitely as a moderate president. Nope.
All right. Well,
I know you don't agree with that.
No, well, but see, agreement is one thing. Answering this question is quite something else. Who's a more liberal president, Barack Obama, in history?
Well, we haven't had very many liberal presidents.
So the answer to that is he is the most liberal president.
But on the political scale worldwide,
okay, he's not Karl Marx, but he's the most liberal guy we ever had.
You're talking about totalitarian. You were referring earlier to totalitarian regimes.
Yes, because that's sort of what
but this is not totalitarianism. But
it would have to be if this nuts vision were to be implemented.
Nobody in their right mind wants 100% taxes of people making over $1 billion.
Do you agree with Colmes that this is just a fringe play, that the far left is a fringe group?
I don't think the far left is a fringe group. I think there's a lot of power, and there are a lot of folks who are just general liberals who are really dedicated to the idea of redistributionism. I think you're right that the 100% taxation over $1 billion is probably not something that the mainstream is in favor of, but this guy is speaking a bit more frankly about something that you think maybe a lot of these folks are believing.
That's the thing that caught my eye, that they usually don't go this far.
Yeah, and here's the thing,
they disguise it.
He also, in this column, celebrates like local solutions and people coming together and doing creative things. Great. That's not compatible with a giant redistribution that's totalitarian.
That minimum income is something that was put forth by Milton Friedman, was put forth by Charles Murray, and even Martin Luther King Jr., who's claimed by the right, right?
If you work for a living, there is a minimum income.
Right.
All right. But if you sit around taking heroin and drinking gin, you shouldn't be
But I'm citing
guaranteed that.
conservatives who wanted a minimum income whether people worked or not.
Yeah,
These
I
are
think, you can,
liberal
that's the thing.
ideas.
I think you can discuss these problems and strategies for combating them. This guy goes a little bit further, and it looks a
He
little
is
free.
fringe. That's a
Okay.
fringe idea.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hope
but
so.
you know what? His quiche is good, I hear. He makes a nice, mean,
I believe that.
mean quiche.
And I will pay a fair price for
Okay.
it on the free market.
Yeah, but real men don't eat it.
Maybe a lot of sharing in the